mysteries. You've been growing as readers with mysteries, but not only as readers, but also as writers, because you guys have been writing about your mysteries too. So I'm going to share so far what we've done. Look at all this that we've learned. Okay. So readers of mysteries, we've learned to ask, what is the mystery here? What's the problem? Who's the crime solver or the detective? Do they have co-detectives or a friend helping them? We know that we are paying attention to clues. We need to pay attention to all the clues that happen in their mystery stories. We also know how to predict, drawing on suspects' motives. Remember, maybe the reason that they might commit a crime, and opportunities. Did they have the opportunity to commit the crime? What were they doing when the crime was committed? We've been retelling our stories with our partners in group work and our discussion boards too. And we've been thinking yesterday and the day before how mystery books go. So usually in the beginning, we're introduced to the mystery or the crime and the crime solver. In the middle, we're giving more clues and suspects. And at the end, we have been going through more and more solutions and the ending of the problem. Who committed the crime? Who stole this? Who kidnapped Wallace Wallace? So what we're going to be learning today is something a little bit different, okay? So I want to teach you that you guys are expert mystery readers. You guys are always on the lookout for what mystery writers or the author of the books refer to as red herrings. So think about that word, red herrings. When mysteries readers, so you guys or me, when we notice a clue, sometimes we worry that it might not be a real clue, that it might instead be called a red herring, okay? So mystery readers know authors use red herrings to throw readers off track. And mystery readers don't let that happen. So red herrings are these clues that the author puts in there almost as fake clues to get you to think something. So we're going to go over a red herring, okay? I'm going to give you a great example of a red herring, okay? So the other day when we were looking at our mystery books, we've noticed that in all our mystery books we've been reading, the absent author, the whodunit, and what a mystery book you're reading, an independent reading, it seems like the detective often guesses wrong at first. Think about it. Has that happened in your mystery? They guessed wrong at first? So it's not an accident that detectives often solve mysteries incorrectly the first time. If a mystery was a cinch to solve, it wouldn't go in a book, okay, if it was that easy. So the detective guesses wrong at first because he or she follows clues that sometimes have been put there on purpose by the author to throw the detective off track or to trick them. So these clues are what I was talking to earlier about red herrings. That's what we call them. And red herrings not only throw the detectives in our books off track, but they also throw us as readers off track. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example of a red herring, okay? So we've been reading, we just finished The Absent Author last week, right? And there was a perfect example of a red herring, a clue that was kind of just a fake clue. So what makes it tricky is that you may come across a red herring and think, oh, a clue. But red herrings usually are so obvious of clues. So the person or the author who planted it really wants you to think that it's a big, big clue, okay? So readers, when you're reading mysteries before, you notice and think, this shows me who did it. I know who did it. I know who did it. But now that you know how mysteries go, when you come to a clue, you need to pause, hold back for a minute, and think, is this a real clue? Or is the author just trying to trick me? So for now, to get a sense of red herrings, let's look backward over the story we just read, The Absent Author, and think about times we were suspicious, okay? Some were probably real clues, some were red herrings, but I have an example of a red herring, okay? So let's go back to this. All right, so here's our new one. We're adding red herrings into our clues, into our mystery. Okay, so remember this letter. This is the letter that Wallace Wallace sent to Dink in the absent author. So let's take a look at it. Thank you for your kind letter. I'm so impressed that you've read all my books. I have good news. I've made arrangements to come to the Book Nook to sign books. I can use part of my time for research. Thanks for your picture. I'm so happy to finally meet one of my most loyal fans. Short of being kidnapped, nothing will stop me from coming. Do you guys think about when we first read that? We all thought, oh my gosh, that short of being kidnapped. We all predicted. I know I definitely thought, all right, he's definitely been kidnapped. Wallace Wallace was kidnapped. So that clue is kind of like a red herring. It is a red herring, okay? So the author put this clue in there to trick us, because all of us thought that whole time that Wallace Wallace was kidnapped. But we found out at the end that he wasn't kidnapped, that Wallace Wallace was actually Mavis Green dressed up in disguise, and she made the whole thing up. The whole thing up. So red herrings are those clues that authors are going to put in your book to try and trick you. So that means that when you're reading today, you need to be extra careful looking for those red herrings. If you find a clue, I want you to really think, is this a real clue or is this just a red herring? Is this a clue the author put in there to trick me? So here's your work plan for Wednesday, okay? We're going to be doing our independent reading like always. When you guys read though, what have we been